friends, welcome back. I'm so excited to be sharing with you a quick little tutorial using soft pastels, chalk pastels. And I'm going to be working on some florals because I love florals. I am super excited to be sharing this because I was very fortunate to receive this beautiful set of pastels from my friends over at Artisa. Thank you so much. I am excited to play with these and share with you guys at least so far one way in which you can use chalk pastels on your journals or maybe your scrapbook pages. Definitely you can create artwork with them on a canvas or something like that, if you know, something like a landscape. But today I'm going to be working on the sort of embellishments that I'm going to be adding in my journal. These flowers were inspired by a set of ephemera that I have. It is from Dear Lizzie, and it is from the She Is Magic collection. There were a couple of flowers in the set, and I really like them. And once I saw them, I thought, you know, maybe this is something that I can try with my chalk pastels. And so the inspiration came from that. Obviously, those were were created using, you know, cardstock. I am using vellum paper here to create this watercolor kind of look to them. I am starting with a darker color in the center, and I use two different lighter colors towards the outside of the petals. So working from dark to light, and I am using these little rubber brushes to kind of move the color around onto the paper. You can use a brush. A lot of time the brushes will tend to kind of brush off the pastels, the color itself. With these little rubber brushes, I'm kind of pushing it in. As you can see, this is an actual brush here, and you can definitely use it to kind of soften up those darker areas. But the rubber little brushes work great because I am almost like pushing the color very firmly into the paper rather than kind of sitting on top of it and then moving it around and even brushing it off with a regular bristle brush. I kind of dust off the page after I'm done because there's a lot of residue left. So be careful where you add that, where you kind of toss it to make sure it's not going to get onto any other projects that you might be working on. Once I finish my flower there, I grab this Sharpie. It's a very, not super thin or fine, super fine tip, to create a little bit of the center and kind of shape up the flower a little bit more. Very easy. You honestly don't feel like you have to know how to draw because the flowers, you know, this particular shape, they're very irregular. You can tell the petals, they're not all the same size and they're not all the same shape. So very easy, very forgiving. By me cutting the flowers like this, I'm basically recreating an ephemera piece because if I would have bought these, they would be, again, just something that I would add to my journal pages with glue. I could have drawn these straight onto the page, but again, I feel like, you know, when you add an embellishment, it just adds a different look to your page. So I'm gonna do another one here, same technique, just kind of figure out the shape of where you want the center of the flower and kind of dedicate, you know, some of the shadows with the darker color and work your way out with lighter colors. Now I want you to notice that I'm trying, as I was cutting that other one, and you'll see here in a minute, once I have added the color and created the flower, I try not to touch it because chalk will come off with your finger. If you kind of rub it, it's going to smudge. So you have to be careful where you're smudging. There are specific areas where it's okay to smudge. Now, because I'm going to be cutting these is okay, because if I was to come out, it's no problem. But you don't want to smudge the edges of the petals and kind of add a different shape to the flower. Again, because we're going to be cutting it, there's a little bit of freedom there. You can cut off something that, if the petal got misshapen, you can cut it off and reshape it again. I have a little piece of paper towel there to kind of clean the tip of this little rubber brush. If anybody knows if these little brushes or rubber brushes have a specific use, let me know. I just feel that that they were maybe specifically made for these type of project, because there you see the little chisel. I'm sure they come in handy maybe using in paint, but again, for me to use in this project to move the chalk around, they became just the perfect tool for that. I'm adding a little bit of highlights here and there. Again, you can shape up your flower however you want. Add a center, and you can use a brush like I'm using here. If you choose to have a little softer look to them, you can press harder or use the edge of the rectangular chalk pastel to create lines, and you'll see me do that here in a minute with a darker green. I'm kind of using the corner, and it looks almost like a pencil, right? But then once you start moving the chalk around, then it creates that watercolor effect. So I wanted it again to be softer. If you press too hard, it's hard to kind of get the lines off, and you can see that there's some of those lines were still there. I was trying to soften the lines of the leaf, and then I think I ended up using my finger, because you can certainly use your finger. Again, you just make sure you clean it after you're done so you don't put color where you don't want it. Dusting it off, making sure that it's not going to get anywhere where I don't need it, and making those outlines a little softer. And here I end up using my finger to kind of mix the color really well and make it a little bit softer. The box of pastels, this specific box comes with 72 colors, which is amazing. Pastel colors can be mixed, but when you have a box that comes with 72 colors, you don't need to. There's an array of greens and blues, several shades of all the different colors, and that's what makes it super awesome. And again, you will not have to mix any colors. It is possible, but I can tell you that it probably will take a little bit of a trial and error for me to learn how to mix the colors, especially if I want them to have this softer look. Now, when I cut the flower, I want you to notice how, again, I try to stay away from putting my fingers on the actual petals, because again, the pastels have not been set, and I will explain what I mean by that here in a little bit. So very quickly, just cutting around, trying not to touch where the actual paint is, the color is. These two turn out really big. I wanted a couple that were smaller. This is the journal that I will be adding them on, and so I'm kind of testing out where will I put them, how I'm going to use them. And of course, two is not going to be enough, so I'm going to make a couple of more, and I will also be making some leaves as well. I'm trying to keep the same color palette on all the flowers that I will be creating. Very weird shapes, right? Those are total weird shapes, but again, it just, you can actually have a flower in front of you and look at it and try to kind of replicate it. I think that petal turned out to be a little wild there, but that's okay. You can again reshape the flowers once you're cutting them. And you can add more if you want to. Always start smaller, and then you can always go larger if you want to. The same shades of pink and orange, a little bit of orange, and then that little, I would call a mustard yellow, those probably a brighter yellow there, but it's so pretty. And then same thing, you'll see that this brush, you can see how it just takes off the color. Can you see that? It just takes it away, and it kind of defeats the point. And you can see the little rubber brush here. It definitely gives it a different look. It just kind of pushes the color more into the paper, and it leaves it a little bit more of a solid, stronger color. You can see all the different colors of the box of all the pastels here on the background. The 72 colors. I forgot to tell you, the box of 72 is on their website for $48.99. They do have sales sometimes, so if you're interested, you can always visit their website and maybe sign up to their newsletter, and you will get notices of when their sale and what their sales are going on. You'll see me post a few things about them on my Instagram account as well. So just very easy, very simple, reshaping the petals, reshaping the leaves, staying with the same color. Very, very fun way to create art using different mediums, right? We're used to watercolors or maybe acrylic. I haven't seen a lot of chalks on journals, but that's about to change because I'm going to be making some other things. I'm not, definitely different shapes of florals, trying maybe a little bit more of a bolder colors rather than a soft pastels like this. But again, so right now I'm kind of in love with this technique here. So, but we'll see. I was trying to think what else I could do. Something that can be cut up. Definitely can just draw straight into the journal, but this vellum is working really well. Once again, just very simple squiggly lines here and there. Be brave, try it out. It's no big deal. You know, you're doing this for yourself, and I think it's, again, it's just so much fun. So give yourself the freedom to try it out and accept that imperfect is also very pretty. I think I end up doing one more tiny little flower. You won't get to see that one though, but you'll see once I start adding them to my journal. I'm going to be cutting this last one here, and I will be showing you how to seal, because again, you have to seal your chalk onto whatever surface you're working on so that it will not come off by accident. And I will add links to everything that I have used at the end, and maybe a few close-ups. I'll try to finish the page because I'm only adding the flowers, but I still have to do my journaling. So here we are, we're going to do the rub test. And there, you see how the chalk comes off? To avoid that, I'm going to be showing you to use this. It's a matte finish Krylon spray. And here's the test. I've already sprayed mine, nothing. They don't come off. I did this outside. Make sure you spray them on a ventilated area, well ventilated area. And here it is. Matte finish, works super well. And now I'm just going to add them to this page here. This is my large, very large compared to a standard size journal. This is my favorite thing right now. This is the only project, well, I shouldn't say that. This is my brand new project this year using this journal. I've heard this type of journal called Omni journal because basically you do everything in here Anything I want to do, I do it here. I don't have several journals going on, and I am really enjoying that process. So there you can see I did a smaller one on the upper left corner and then a few extra leaves to finish up this project. Thank you so much again to my friends from Artisa for sending this beautiful set of pastels. I'm going to have a blast creating more projects with these. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, I will add all the links at the end so that you know where you can get all these beautiful materials so you can start playing the same way I did here today. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care.